I fell into Bitcoin in 2011, so Bitcoin was around $1, I think, back then. And anyway, the whole 9 yards, like I've basically been in this space forever. But in 2016, myself and two friends, we started a company called Byte Federal. We are now one of the largest Bitcoin ATM operators in the United States. So Bitcoin ATM, for people who don't know, is similar to a bank, regular ATM, where you can go and you deposit your dollars and you get Bitcoin. And we're, I think, in 42 states at the moment, about 1,400 locations or so. And it's been a pretty wild ride since 2016. I think the biggest thing that people might want to know about Byte Federal is what sets us apart is we are a software company first. So we build the hardware and software in the United States from the ground up. So our machines are built in-house in Florida, assembled there. The software is written in the company, everything, the management software, the front end, and we have digital wallets. We're going kind of in the digital space as well. So it's kind of from the bottom-up crypto company.
Amazing. And by the way, 2011 Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
Eastern German. So you understand the dangers of, to put it nicely, collectivism.
Yeah, that was what got me.
I'm originally from Venezuela, so I understand.
Yeah, no one has to tell you.
I understand very, very much what you mean, and I think Bitcoin itself as a technology is one of the most powerful weapons against this extremely dangerous ideology that has killed 100 million people in the last century, right? It's a way to protect the individual from the collective.
And still finds a lot of followers in the West, unfortunately, to this day.
I think it's because they don't know.
A lot of people don't read history books. They really don't. If they don't have someone like you or myself to talk to, or family history, I think people keep making the same mistakes. 2020 was hopefully for a lot of people a little bit of an awakening how easy totalitarian thought permeates society, and it's crazy when it's suddenly on at your front door. There's hardly any escape. But like you said, yeah, Bitcoin is the idea, as we all subscribe to, and I think we have a good point, that if you decentralize money, the politicians have a harder time taking us and lining us up against the wall.
Even though they really want to.
Even though, hey, and there are arguments to be made that, it's not like they're forgetting about Bitcoin and finding ways to centralize it and then, close it up, lock it behind doors, similar to what happened to gold.
So what's your take on, and let's talk about that, right? Because, when I wish we recorded the conversation we had before we went on air, because we said some dope shit. But we were talking about essentially the victory, right?
Yeah,
because
yes.
our industry was at first it was ignored,
yeah,
and then it was ridiculed, and
right.
then for the last 4 years we've been literally getting hit over the head by a 2x4.
Open warfare. Yeah.
The entire time they're saying it's for consumer protection.
Yeah.
Which we both know it's like they want to.
Operation Chokepoint was insane. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, I totally agree with your timeline. So I think up until around 2014, we were completely belittled and laughed at if anyone knew actually about us. And then after that, the regulators came in and we tried to kind of play by the books and do everything right. But we had, of course, to do things 5 times as well as the banks did. I've in my office I have this wall behind me. I've taken it down now, but I had the whole wall was covered with bank accounts I lost. Starting this crypto business, but the first Trump years were a little bit of a support there for a while, even simply as the business environment got better. But once Biden was in office, it was a complete warfare. We had at that point a beautiful wallet with a banking integration actually built out, like a card, a bank account that people could set up, banking as a service, tied into your crypto account. It was amazing. And then FTX happened, which that itself, it's an interesting operation. and it all kind of crumbling down. So we're kind of rebuilding since then. But you're right. I think this show is a celebratory one. People feel that we made it past a certain hurdle, and we've never had that before.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a pro-Bitcoin administration in the White House. The first time a sitting vice president shows up at the Bitcoin conference. I can't even imagine what that feels like for you, for someone, I'm class of 2016, right? For most of my professional career, my adult life, I've been in Bitcoin. In 2011, I mean, you're talking about the very early days, tons of uncertainty. No one knew what this thing was. And to go from there to more than a decade later in the White House X account saying that they have every intention of making Bitcoin the United States the strategic Bitcoin capital of the world. How do you feel about that?
We just had Eric Trump go on an insane rant. I hope people will look that up. That was really, really cool. I was like, before I came over here. And you could tell he was actually viscerally, he was angry with what happened to the Trump family, with the traditional financial system, what they did to the family. If they had not gone through this, I don't think they would have aligned themselves as much with crypto. But the alignment of crypto and he basically mentioned it came out, I think they would not have won the way they did. And it wouldn't have made the impact that it did. So it was all very serendipitous. On top of that inch that we almost missed. Almost didn't make it.
I mean, I think for anyone who understands history and for anyone who's experienced this before, I think people underestimate how close the United States was towards sliding towards a certain political system, which people have no idea how difficult it is to reverse.
I really wish more young people would study communism in the United States or in the West in general, because you just keep repeating the same thing. It's funny, like during the tail end of the Biden administration, I was frustrated, just like I'm sure your family was too, and I wrote a little book, 1983, as a prequel to 1984, and just basically self-published. But it was like, we're repeating all of these steps, and it seems like there's no way out. Luckily, if you think about it, if this particular family and their supporters would not have pushed as hard as they did, half the businesses that we see here, maybe I'm exaggerating, but eventually would have been half the businesses here, they would have disappeared in a short.
100%. And I mean, there was a point, and I work in the media business. I don't even have, I don't need a money translator license. I don't know, whatever. But me and my partner, who's right over there, who's been with me since basically day one, we were seriously considering, moving to El Salvador, because the regulatory environment, the writing was on the wall, right? Like, and I can't even imagine what it must have been like to actually have hardware and to actually have money transmitter license. Because what they were doing behind the scenes, they were sabotaging this industry. It wasn't one big cut; it was many small cuts, left and right, to essentially with the goal of really, destroying the industry.
Weaponizing regulation. So we opened an office in Dubai. We opened one in El Salvador, partially because of that, because you weren't really sure where the things were going to move after this election. So it's amazing to see where we've come to, and the future at the moment is very bright. However, I hope we're not going to be complacent, and I think I hear this here too. A lot of people are talking about that. Please don't be complacent. Take that win, but then double down. I think JD Vance made a similar point.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to capitalize on this momentum that we have, and we have to keep the pressure on. And if you understand what's at stake, you realize that you don't have a choice. This is something that, I personally say all the time. I say my slogan is Bitcoin or slavery, right? That's really the choice that we have as a society. Do we want a continuation of the fiat system, which is central bank digital currencies, or do we want a future of freedom, peace, prosperity, and opportunity, which is Bitcoin, right? And I
Yeah.
think those are the two choices ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like obviously, a lot of people in your audience have read Saifedean's book, The Bitcoin Standard, which is a great read. But in general, I think we do not want to repeat what happened to gold. So I think even within the Bitcoin and crypto universe, we need to be very vigilant and understand and try to understand who is moving what's happening behind the scenes. We briefly talked about the core maintainers of Bitcoin. People just need to be careful not to be fooled by names and labels. Deeply try to understand the technology and the principles behind the technology and where we're trying to go with this. I think, however, a lot of discussions may here be changed very quickly with what's happening with AI. I think our AI agents are going to take this and really are going to run with cryptocurrency.
Let's talk about that too, because something that I told you off air is, and perhaps it's unpopular with Bitcoiners. I'm just going to look at Opti when I say this. I think AI is going to have a bigger consequence on humanity and society than Bitcoin.
He's not cutting you off. I was gonna say, I actually agreed with you. So as a long-term Bitcoiner, I think AI goes into every one of our areas of life. Like my girlfriend actually said a few weeks ago, we were talking about the time before AI, and she stopped me and said, like, don't talk about the dark ages to me. so there is I think the AI agents are also underestimated. We want more and more agency. We want more intelligence, but at the same time, I see people freaking out when they make their own decisions. They are going to make their own decisions. They come closer to what humans are like, and probably beyond that. But I think cryptocurrency comes so natural to them. They're going to use it, and as capital formation and capital interactions are intrinsic to almost everything you do economically, these agents are going to thrive on it. So I agree with you, but at the same time, I think Bitcoin is going to be the thing that allows them to flourish, or crypto.
Absolutely, because it's this internet native money. I think they inherently need this because they're digital, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Jeff Booth has this very interesting theory, and I find it fascinating. Basically, he told me, and I interviewed him, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but he basically says, like, listen, Nico, AI under a fiat standard will enslave. AI under a Bitcoin standard will liberate. What's your take on that?
Only if that Bitcoin standard is really truly decentralized. If that is another custodial item that's held behind some institution, then you might end up in a hybrid version of enslavement. So, but I generally agree. I think I can subscribe to that because what would happen is you'd have AI agents that economically engage beyond our wildest dreams with each other, building, creation, robotic factories, and who's going to benefit from that? Every individual who's holding on to a monetary standard that can't be inflated, right? And so they'll be able to spend money on. I think we're going into an age of abundance. I truly believe that.
Yes, 100%. We are going into an age of abundance. This has been the most exciting time to be alive. What is happening? What are the implications to society, to governments, while Bitcoin exists, while AI exists? Like, these next 10 years are going to be incredibly exciting. They're going to be a roller coaster ride. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show.
Same here, Nico.
And I hope we have another one of these conversations, because I've been enjoying them so far.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest Byte Federal ATM and turn your cash to coin. Byte Federal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, bytefederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.